So we're going to move on to level 2 in ROBO Pro. Level 2 deals with subprograms. Subprograms allow you to kind of clean up your program, be it just it's getting complex and you want to break it up into individual pieces, or you have a piece of code that you're repeating several times. You can turn that into a subprogram and then put that in place of that, and then if you ever need to make edits, you can just edit that one subprogram instead of editing it 5-10 times. So I'm going to demonstrate what I did with the ceiling fan device I have here on my desk. I've shown a couple of you what it looks like. So I'm going to move this down here now. So here's my ceiling fan. It's, as you can see, I have 2 controllers. That's because you only have 4 outputs per controller, and I actually needed 1 more currently. I have my motor, 3 lights here, and then another one there. So I had to connect another controller to what I got going on here. If you end up needing to do that, let me know. I'll show you how it's done. But it's not going to be necessary for the next activity for you to do something like this. So I'm going to start my program here. Okay, so my device is started. Now I'll run you through what I did and kind of try to talk it in terms of how I programmed it. So the device starts with the press of this button. When I press this button, it turns on this light down here. This light then shines into the sensor, and unless this sensor reads less than 500, the rest of the machine won't work. But once this light shines into it, it drops the sensor down below 500, I think around 260, and so now the rest of the machine will work. The next step on my program is I start the fan. There are 3 stages to the fan. I have a low power, a high power, a medium power, and a high power. Each press of this button will switch to different stages. So the first press will go into low power, which I have set to a red light. So it's running at low power and has a red light. I press the button again, it will switch over to medium power and light up the yellow one and increase the speed of the fan. And then the one more press will go into high power and it will turn on the green light. The programming for each stage is about the same, except I have to write something different for the fan speed and turning on the different lights to indicate what setting I'm on. Pressing the button again does not shut the device off. It actually just goes back down to low power. So then I can just keep on going through the different power settings. And then if I need to shut the device off, I just press the power button again, and it shuts down. So I'm going to swap over to my program. So this is, without using subprograms, this is what my program would look like. And it's not necessarily that complex, but it's starting to get there, and I can clean it up a lot with subprograms, which I've already written, and I'll show you how I kind of can swap out all this for the subprograms. So this section here, here, and here, that's my low, medium, and high power, how I wrote for those settings. And then I've turned each one of those into a subprogram. So I have my low, medium, and fast. When you're creating, to get into subprograms, you need to set your level to level 2. So it will look like this on level 1, and then when you go to level 2, it will kind of change the interface a little bit, but what was just on level 1 is underneath program elements, basic elements, there's all those, and then we'll use also subprogram. We can ignore the rest of this for right now. So in subprogram we have entry and exit. So the entry is, you can have, I think you can only have one, well, I'm not sure, I'd have to play with that some more, but I know you can have more than one exit. Well, you could definitely have more than one entry. I only needed one for what I'm doing. So the entry, when I put it in here, it's gonna, so this one flows into this, that's gonna be my entry point, and as it goes through and then comes wherever I'm done writing that code, that's my exit, and that's where I'm gonna plug these back in. If you look at here on my motor speed, I have my low. It comes after it hit the switch gets flipped. It comes into the entry on low, goes through that program in here, and then once one of these things happens, it will come out of the exit that. Let's see if I go back to that. If I press this button, it's going to go out this exit, which that was the first one I put in, and if I press this button, it's going to go out this exit, which is the second one. So as far as I can tell, that's how it's worked for me, is you got to pay attention to which one you put in. I don't know, I guess, is there a way to name these? Doesn't look like it. So this, let's see how I want to say this. I'm going to first replace all this with low, and then I'll replace all of it with my motor speed here. All of the subprograms you write are underneath loaded programs. So whatever you named your file, or the more recent files you've had open. So I'm going to come back over here. So this, all this area right here is, let's see if I can get that again. That's low power. So deleting that, I can come here and then I'll drag and drop low in, and then connect to where it needs to enter and then where it needs to exit. So that this one here needs to exit to kill the program, and then this one here needs to exit and go into the next power setting. So I actually then so I have 4 of these subprograms, so I have this last one, so I don't need to, I'm just cleaning it up at this point. So I'm going to now, with motor speed, replace all of this stuff with just one subprogram. And now I have a much easier program to look at. And it's kind of organized in a way that I can kind of look through it and find if I have any problems or if I want to add something new to it. What I'm going to probably have assigned for you, I haven't fully determined exactly all the specifications, but if you could get even close to something as complex as the ceiling fan, I think I'll be pretty happy with the results on what will be Activity 312, Level 2 subprograms.